When people talk about frustrating anime characters, they usually mention characters that are annoying, right? Characters that make stupid decisions, or maybe characters that are just constantly creating problems, okay? But to me, a frustrating character is someone who doesn't change throughout the story whatsoever. They are the same from the beginning to the end. So today I want to talk about who is my most frustrating character, who just pisses me off. You know what I'm saying? Which character just pisses me off? And of course that is Chizuru from Rent-A-Girlfriend. After hundreds and hundreds of chapters and episodes, she feels like she's barely changed at all. But before we start this video, please make sure to watch until the end and subscribe. Only 5.6% of my subscribers contribute to my watch time. You know what I'm saying, dude? 94.4% of my subscribers don't watch the videos, bro. That's like actually sad, and that's like abysmal, deadass, bro. I'm not even gonna lie. But anyway, before we actually get into the frustrating part of Chizuru's character, we first have to acknowledge something. Chizuru was actually like alright to begin Rent-A-Girlfriend as a series, as a character, you know what I'm saying? She wasn't a generic tsundere, she wasn't insanely in love with Kazuya, you know what I'm saying? She had goals, she was ambitious, you know what I'm saying? She was an independent character, she felt like an actual person. While on the other hand, Kazuya was a complete loser, Chizuru was the one holding everything together, you know what I'm saying, dude? She was mature, responsible, and she was confident, and that dynamic from Chizuru and Kazuya made Rent-A-Girlfriend stand out from other romance series, right? Whether you think Rent-A-Girlfriend is bad or good, it doesn't matter. That dynamic did make Rent-A-Girlfriend stand out. Because unlike most romance anime, Chizuru actually felt unobtainable. Like, she felt like, I mean, it really felt like Kazuya was never even gonna, like, really get her. You know what I'm saying, dude? It really felt like it was actually deadass impossible. It was almost like there's a mountain separating Kazuya and Chizuru, you know what I'm saying, dude? That mountain was too big. It was too, like, large to overcome, you know what I'm saying? And watching that mountain slowly disappear was supposed to be the story, right? Like, watching Chizuru finally, you know, learn to let her feelings out, you know what I'm saying? That was the whole story, right? The problem is that mountain never disappeared, and Chizuru's feelings are never, like, brought to life, really. And we're just now really getting into that in the manga, you know what I'm saying, dude? 400 chapters deep, we're just now getting into her feelings. But really, where the frustration starts for me and for other fans as well, is that throughout the story, Chizuru gets countless opportunities to open up to Kazuya, right? Her grandma dies. Kazuya supports her in that. They make a movie together. They spend more time together than most romance couples ever even like do in other romance anime, you know what I'm saying? And every single one of these moments feels like the breakthrough, right? It feels like you're saying, okay, this is the moment Chizuru finally opens up. She finally lets Kazuya actually communicate. She finally lets Kazuya in, right? And then nothing happens. The story constantly teases emotional progress without fully committing to it. One of Chizuru's defining traits is that she hides her true feelings, right? We see this throughout the story, right? We see how she's like a rental girlfriend on the side, you know what I'm saying? Which is like a completely different person from what she's actually like in her own time. You know what I'm saying? And at first, that's great. You know what I'm saying? That's great characterization, right? People have walls, people struggle to be vulnerable. That isn't the problem. The problem is that those walls become practically indestructible. After hundreds of chapters, she still struggles to communicate honestly with Kazuya. She still avoids direct conversations. She still keeps him at arm's length. And eventually fans stop asking, when will she open up, and start asking, will she ever open up? Because character flaws like Chizuru and her struggle to reveal her true feelings about things, they're supposed to be challenged, right? They're supposed to lead somewhere. But with Chizuru, it often feels like the story is terrified of letting her change, like she does not get past the wall. But here's the irony, right? The character everybody makes fun of in Rent-A-Girlfriend is Kazuya, and he has arguably developed more than Chizuru actually has. Season 1 Kazuya is pathetic. We all know, right? He's insecure, immature, obsessive. He constantly panics, right? Yet over time, he starts to become more dependable, more confident, more willing to put others first. Although he's still Kazuya, you can clearly tell that he's grown. You know what I'm saying? Like there's there is growth in his character at least. Chizuru, she's still struggling with many of the exact same emotional barriers she had at the beginning, and that's what creates the imbalance. One character is moving, in this case Kazuya. Kazuya is moving forward. Chizuru, in this case, often feels stuck. Now, I would like to highlight a specific arc and basically the rest of the chapters after that arc, and that is the investigation arc. The investigation arc starts on chapter 236 and ends on chapter 255, but we're just going to forget about the ending and we're going to talk about all the chapters after that, right? So the investigation arc is basically where Chizuru investigates her feelings because she's feeling something towards Kazuya, right? And you'd think, okay, it's not that long, right? That wouldn't be that long. That wouldn't be like taking forever, you know what I'm saying, dude? But fans waited and waited and waited for Chizuru to give an answer. Instead, the story kept stretching it out. Every chapter felt like we were one step away from maybe Chizuru doing anything whatsoever, only for another thing to happen, right? Maybe it's another misunderstanding, maybe another hesitation, or maybe another excuse. At some point, anticipation transforms into frustration, and Rent a Girlfriend crossed that line for a lot of readers. But now let's look at where Chizuru is right now in the story, and let's look at, you know, the latest Rent a Girlfriend chapters, right? Chizuru in chapter 414 confirmed that she has feelings for Kazuya and she would actually date Kazuya right now. In chapter 414, she said that, okay? So explain to me why she ends up rejecting Kazuya a couple of chapters before that because she wants to make sure that her feelings are on the same level as Kazuya's. It makes no sense. If you both like each other, why don't you just get together already? The reason fans are harsh on Chizuru isn't because they hate her or anything like that, right? In fact, it's the opposite. I believe people recognize that Chizuru can be a good character. Like, there is some foundation there, you know what I'm saying? Her design is good, her backstory is good, her chemistry with Kazuya has moments, you know what I'm saying? The potential is there, and I think that's why it's frustrating. Nobody gets angry when a bad character stays bad. People get angry when a great character never reaches their potential, and I think that's exactly what happened with Chizuru. Now you might be asking yourself, is Chizuru the worst heroine in anime? I'd say probably not. The reason she's become one of the most frustrating for me though is because she's trapped in a story that constantly promises change for her character without ever delivering enough of it. For years, fans have watched her stand on the edge of emotional growth. For years, they've waited for the walls to finally come down. And for years, they've been told, just wait a little longer. Eventually, people stop being excited, right? They stop being excited. They stop being patient with it. You know what I'm saying? They start becoming impatient. They start wondering if the finish line was ever even real. And that's why Chizuru frustrates me, right? It's not because she doesn't have any potential, but it's because after all of this time, after all these years, it still feels like we're waiting for her to truly even do anything. But hey, tell me what you think down in the comments below. Do you think that Chizuru is unfairly hated, or is she the most frustrating heroine in anime? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you all of you guys for watching this video until the end. It really means a lot to me, and I will see all of you in the next video. Peace.